here in back of house Cousin Jack's, and we're going to make a traditional Cornish pasty. We're going to actually show you how to make a proper Cornish pasty. Now, if you're from Cornwall or England, nevertheless, you should know a traditional Cornish pasty should be beef, swede, potato, onion, salt and pepper, and that's all it should be. You can see we've got the ingredients here, they're lovely and fresh, like beautifully fresh beef here. Swedes, onions, and all the ingredients are ready to go. So let's make a proper Cornish pasty. What are we going to do first of all, Pat?
Yeah, we'll do potato first.
All right, let's chop away. So it's important when you get a potato for a proper Cornish pasty, you got to slice it, not dice it. This is all down to making the veggies and everything cook at the same speed within the pasty, because a traditional Cornish pasty is cooked from raw. Onto the swede.
Diced swede.
Or you could use turnip if you want to. So the thickness of the veggies is really important for a traditional Cornish pasty. Dicing it here, what centimetre is it, or 2 centimetres?
Yep.
Yeah. Leave out the root, but it's beautiful vegetable turnip, the swede. It just smells, if you scratch the surface and have a smell, it's beautiful. So, sliced potatoes, diced swede. What's next? So the onion just gives it a bit of, a lot of moisture, I guess, doesn't it, as well as flavour.
Goes really well with the beef.
So all these vegetables were really important back in the day in Cornwall, because they were like, the basic vegetables like potato, onion, swede. They were always around, available all year round. So I mean, this was their soul food that they lived on.
The parsley gives colour and flavour. The parsley is very nice, goes with the beef and potato very well. We've got our beef.
So what beef are we putting in it? It's a combination of skirt and chuck, isn't it?
And blade, yeah.
Blade. Right. So those different cuts of the beef work well together to basically come out not chewy but very succulent and tender when they've cooked.
So we got our beef.
So the mixing time.
And time to mix. Yeah, salt and pepper.
So what the salt does is actually draws, because what this does, it sits for a little bit before we put it in the pasty, and the salt draws out some of the moisture, doesn't it? Yeah. Draws out some of the moisture from the meat, from the potatoes, from the veggies, and makes that moisture within the pasty.
Get in and have a good mix.
So it's all fresh ingredients, fresh meat, fresh veggies, very easily made. I mean, this would have been made by the miners' wives in the old days, so it's not like a modern recipe as such. It's a 300-year-old recipe, very simple, but in actual fact in Australia a lot of people get this wrong. If we let this sit for a bit, the flavours are going to mature, etc., but we're going to make some fresh right now. These things were taken down the mine and eaten, and the miners had really, really dirty hands and had arsenic on their hands from being down in the mines, so they would hold on to the crimp and they would eat the pasty holding on to the crimp. The story goes that the very last piece of pastry, which is the end bit here, they would throw this down the deepest, darkest mine shaft where they were at the time in the mine, and they would feed the evil spirits, and they were called knockers. The evil spirits were knockers, and that was because the miners believed they would knock on the wall of the mines to either warn them of a cave-in, or maybe they were actually trying to cause a cave-in to hurt the miners. So they would throw the pastry down the mine to feed the spirits, to try and keep them happy. So we have some pastry which has been freshly made, rough puff, 3/4 puff, mixture between a short crust and a puff. Lovely texture. It's short, like a short crust, but it's also puffy as well, so it's light as well. So you can layer it, so you put the veggies at the bottom and the meat on top, and then the seasoning on top, but we actually just pre-mix everything, make it nice and mixed up, and as I say, if you leave it in the container and it sits for a little bit to generate the flavours. So now we go to the important part, which is the crimping. So the traditional method of making a pasty. You fold up the two corners, you put it together, push it down. Now, this pastry is a little bit soft. It's been spinning outside for a few minutes, so it's a bit soft, but now we start to crimp. So we fold over the thumb and we go in this motion. So it's a 3-step motion. Fold over the thumb, turn it over and pinch it. Fold it over the thumb, turn it over and pinch it. We go along all the way. We get to the end, we turn it over, we give it a little bit of a hug, And there we go, there's our little finished pasty, made with a bit of love and care. This is all it is, just beef, sweet potato, onion, fresh ingredients. It's got to be fresh, it has to be fresh. So you put your thumb here, fold it over, pinch. Put your thumb here, fold it over, pinch, fold, pinch. And away we go. When you get really quick, you can go like this. Away we go. Give it a hug, bit of love, like this. So we put them on there. Now we baste them to make sure they come up nice and golden brown. So a little bit of egg wash here. Just baste these with the old paintbrush. This just brings out the golden colour. It's optional, you don't have to do this, but it just makes it nice and golden when it's come out of the oven. Just to make a little baking hole, that just lets the pressure come out or the steam come out when it's cooking away. So just a little hole in the top. Just lets the steam out, and there they are, ready to go in the oven. In the centre shelf for just under an hour. You can find out a bit more information about us at our website, which is www.cousinjackspastyco.com. We also have our Facebook page, which lots of people have liked. So we're all about our slogan, which is basically rich in flavour and in history, and that is what Cousin Jacks Pasty Co is all about.